Have you ever looked back and realized you've been praying the same prayer for years and maybe decades? You've prayed for your child's salvation. You've prayed for your marriage. You've prayed for healing. You've prayed for peace. You've prayed for a prodigal grandchild. And you're honest. Sometimes you've wondered, God, are you listening? Not because you've lost your faith, but because you've kept your faith. And nothing seems to be changing. Friend, today I want to talk to you about the hardest parts of following God. What to do when you're prayed, what to do when you've prayed faithfully, and the answer still hasn't come. Now, by the end of this video, I want to help you understand 3 biblical truths. Why waiting is not wasted, and why God may be working where you cannot see, and how to continue trusting God when all the circumstances remain unchanged. Because if you've been carrying a prayer for years, I believe God has not forgotten either your prayer or your story. Welcome to God Stories with Annette. In this place, we talk honestly about faith, life, and finding God in both the struggle and the breakthroughs. And today we're talking about something many faithful women quietly carry, and that's the grief of unanswered prayer. Not because we stop believing, but because we continue to believe for so very long. And one of the greatest lies the enemy tells us is, if nothing has changed, then nothing is happening. But scripture teaches something entirely different. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." Notice that scripture doesn't say those who wait have failed. It doesn't say those who wait have weak faith. It says those who wait receive strength. The Bible's filled with people who waited. Abraham waited decades. Joseph waited years in prison. Hannah waited for a child. David waited for a throne. And waiting was not punishment. Waiting was part of their story, and perhaps part of yours too. There's been seasons in my own life where I've prayed and I've prayed for something to change, particularly with my health. And many of you know that there have been years where pain, surgery, medical procedures, and uncertainty became part of my daily life. And if I'm honest, there were moments when I wondered, Lord, haven't I prayed enough? Lord, haven't I trusted enough? Lord, why is this taking so long? I wish I could tell you that every prayer was answered exactly when I wanted it to be. But that and hasn't been my experience. What I've discovered instead is that sometimes God was doing a work in me while I was asking Him to change what was around me. He was teaching me dependence. He was teaching me surrender. He was teaching me that His presence could sustain me even before my circumstances had changed. And honestly, that lesson has changed my faith forever. One of my favorite verses about this comes from John 5:17. And Jesus said, "My Father has been working until now, and I've been working." Notice what Jesus says, not that God was working, not that God will work, but that God is working, even now, even when you can't see it, even when you don't feel it, even when nothing appears to be changing, friend. If you've been praying for an adult child for 20 years, God has not forgotten them. If you've been praying for healing for 10 years, God has not forgotten. If you've been praying for your family, your marriage, your grandchildren, your future, God has not forgotten. Just because you cannot see movement doesn't mean God is standing still. Some of God's greatest work happens underground before we see anything, only on the surface. I think many of us secretly believe that success in prayer means getting the answers we wanted. But Hebrews 10:35-36 says, "Therefore do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. For you have need of endurance, not perfection, not quick answers. Endurance, not immediate breakthroughs. Faithfulness, endurance. Friend, heaven measures success differently than we do. And perhaps God isn't asking you to produce the outcome. Perhaps He's asking you to continue to trust Him. Because every prayer you've prayed in faith matters. Every tear you've cried matters. Every act of obedience matters. Nothing has been wasted. Here's something that has helped me. Take a journal, write it down. One prayer you've been praying for a long time. Then underneath it, answer this question. What has God been doing in me while I've been waiting? You may be surprised by the answer. Perhaps you've become more compassionate, more dependent, more patient, more prayerful, more aware of God's presence. Sometimes the miracle God performs first is inside of us. Friend, if you've been praying for years and nothing appears to be changing, I want you to hear this. Your waiting has not been wasted. Your prayers have not been forgotten, and your faith has not been ignored. God is still working. God is still moving. God is still writing your story. Please receive this. Replace with the lie that nothing is happening. The truth, God is always working, even when we can't see it. Now reach forward, take one long-standing prayer, and thank God today, not for the answer yet, but for His faithfulness while we both wait. And remember, God isn't finished with you yet.